So
Mm.
this brand has a habit of making very confusing retinol percentage claims. How much do I trust their choice of peptides? I don't know.
All right.
Stimmt.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Chemist Confessions podcast. I'm Victoria,
And I'm Gloria.
and this is a human conversation on all the skincare science we talk on the daily. And today, what are we talking about, Gloria?
Ooh, today we are going to put the spotlight on us
Oh.
and give everyone a little closer look at how we would decode ingredients and
Yeah.
hopefully help guide you guys on making that purchase decision.
Mm.
And yeah,
But before that, we are going to share a couple nice words, starting with a kit that we don't actually ever talk about. This is the Chemist Intro to Skincare.
we've talked about the mini kit.
Mm.
We've talked about a lot of our individual product, but this is actually a nice little starter bundle of full-size products and our book.
Yep, the title is Great Intro to CC's Products and Skincare Philosophy. She writes, I love the set. It's a great intro to CC's products in a very approachable way. The book is excellent. Blank slate gel cleanser. My face feels clean with one wash and not stripping at all. Aquafix, so great having this in my routine for those harsh Canadian winters when my skin is extra dry. This is also great during those humid summer days when I don't want to use a heavy moisturizer. I love how functional Aquafix is. Double Play. This is my first retinol product, and I'm glad I started with CC's Double Play. It's non-irritating for my skin and definitely keeping those wrinkles at bay. I will keep using this.
Woo!
Yeah.
Glad everything in the bundle works out. You can check out our website, our bundles. This bundle is sold at a discounted price. You are essentially getting the book for free.
Yeah. And other than that, thank you. And we're moving on to the next product.
Yep, this one is about our cult classic Aquafix. This is about our classic Aquafix hydrating water gel, and the title is 3+ years and counting.
Mhm.
I have oily skin and will occasionally have breakouts. The weather at where I'm staying in Singapore is constantly humid,
Mm.
or we will be in air-conditioned rooms. Aquafix is perfect for my skin, not too oily as it is a water gel base, yet my skin loves the hydration it provides. Having using this since 2020, and I love this product.
That's crazy.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, this is one of our top sellers from day one. It is completely oil free, and how you use it can depend on your skin condition. I have dry skin and I use it like a hydrating serum. I'll layer it under Miss Reliable or a moisturizer I'm testing or an oil.
Yeah. And for
It's like a poorly.
Yeah, and for me, especially in the hotter summer months, this might actually be the only layer I need, especially under sunscreen. And then in wintertime, it's just one layer underneath the moisturizer if I need it. But yeah, otherwise, thank you guys so much. We are very proud of all of our reviews. None of them are paid for, and a lot of them leave their in-depth free skincare routine and skin type. So if you are looking for more info on what our products can do for maybe your skin type, give the reviews a look. And then also a reminder to please use the promo code podcast ship for free shipping on your purchase. This code is stackable with any discounts we might be running at the moment. I don't think there's any, but soon.
Soon, yes, we will.
Maybe very soon.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
All right. So other than that, let's get right into the meats, and we should provide a little bit of context. I do say recently, I do feel like there's a group of individuals that feel like decoding ingredient lists are maybe not that helpful.
Yeah,
Confusing.
I can totally understand where that that came from. For those of you who don't know how we got started, we started with pretty in-depth decodes. We will literally have the product and its ingredient list next to it, highlight certain ingredients, and walk through the specific ingredients that we highlighted.
6 years ago.
Yeah, and then we decided that that's maybe people are getting a little too
Caught up in it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. And we realized there's maybe the takeaways are not. Basically, what we realized was per product category, decoding is maybe can be helpful and sometimes not helpful at all.
Yeah.
And basically I got carried away. So then our decoding journey kind of trickled to where it died down a little bit. And then I think recently Gloria felt like the claims have gotten crazy again.
Super crazy.
So decoding might be helpful. So it's a journey. It's a journey because social media constantly evolves and marketing is evolving. So we figured that we should spend one episode to actually go through our decoding philosophy
Hmm.
per product category in hopes that would help you guys know when to do it, when to not get caught up in it, kind
Yeah,
of thing.
for sure.
Yeah.
So, to get started, the me part one will focus on the fundamentals of skincare,
Mm,
how we decode cleansers, moisturizers, and sunscreens. And
mm,
you'll see that depending on category, how you should, how you might want to read an
mm.
ingredient list can be completely different.
Yep. So we're gonna start off with cleansers. And
This will be very quick, guys.
because we find that decoding in cleansers is actually not helpful at all. The reason being is most cleansers are a blend of surfactants.
Hmm.
They can be at varying concentrations, which will also dictate how irritating the cleanser can be to skin.
Yeah. So in this category, you might have heard of the claim sulfate free, and that usually
Mm,
targets sodium lauryl sulfate, and that's known to be a pretty harsh surfactant. But you can formulate this into a very gentle cleanser, just depending on the supporting cast,
yes.
how much SLS you're actually using,
Mhm.
what other surfactant you're using, and maybe there might be hydrating or soothing ingredients too. So just seeing the word SLS on packaging shouldn't be a determining factor.
Yeah. And I think, just to kind of one final thought here is we did write a post, I think last year,
Hmm.
on kind of a cleanser update. And if, let's say, you were just struggling with everything you've been trying, I think Gloria was able to find a couple products that had just like a completely isolated single surfactant system.
Hmm.
And that may be like as a last effort to try to solve it, just trialing these like single surfactant products to just see if there's one that you could possibly eliminate. But that's really it because everything else when it comes to a blend is so difficult to know how it'll perform.
Yeah, and it's not your imagination. It is hard to find the surfactant combo for you. Like Victoria said, there's a lot of complexities to it.
Hmm.
And something you might see a lot of times is cocoa beating because it's a very popular
Hmm.
gentle surfactant that some people might be allergic to.
Yeah.
So it happens.
Yeah. So we would say if you are buying cleansers based on a feeling, how you like it, how you think it finishes on skin, incorporates into your routine and removes your makeup, that's the better way to go.
Yes. Buy it on a feeling and trust your skin.
Yeah. All right.
But avoid the squeaky feeling.
Yeah.
That's the one we avoid.
Yes, yes. Tightness, dryness, squeaky feel. This is a very dated concept that you do not need in your cleanser. So, yes, great point. All right. Moisturizers. I think we could say this is generally semi helpful.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's been pretty helpful actually in terms of you can zoom in on a couple of ingredients right off the bat.
Hmm.
For example, I have really dry skin,
Mm.
and a lot of times I will look at a heavier cream, which is often positioned for dry skin,
Hmm.
and you can see the butters, the waxes, maybe petrolatum relatively higher up on the
Hmm.
list. But what I realized too is a lot of heavier creams actually don't have the water grabbers. They have
Yes.
very little humectants. It
Yes.
might the ingredient list might read water, catechol triglyceride, which is a lightweight oil, butter, something like this, where you're like, "Where's my glycerin? Where's my like water
Yes.
grabbers? Where's my like glycols?" And
Yes.
it might be none.
A lot of times when followers and our customers ask us about moisturizers and they need help, when they send us their products, we actually notice that a lot of times they're just missing something.
Hmm.
Like, oh, did you know that you are predominantly using water stuff? You actually have very little oil.
Hmm.
And the thing is, as really great chemists that have their own wizardry, you can make really luxurious feeling lotions that feel very nourishing. And it could just be like predominantly water.
Hmm.
That's just what you can do to manipulate the feel. And so that's why I think this happens all the time where you just notice like the balance of things is just not quite right.
Yep.
And also, nowadays, you'll sometimes stumble on gel textures that maybe aren't all they seem. I was thinking about how, like, even for oily skin types, you'll stumble on gel textures that you think are gonna be like light, and then
Hmm.
they turn out to be, I don't know, silicone gels and whatnot.
Silicone gels can be great, but I have noticed like a type of, I think it's a little like lazy silicone emulsion formulation where it has that initial slip that's signature to a
Mhm.
silicone gel, but then it just slides forever. Or like
Yeah.
they got a little too heavy
Yeah.
handed with the silicone.
Yeah, just pure silicone feels unnatural and
Yeah.
gross. Yep. Yeah, so, this also can help you avoid certain textures you might not like.
Hmm.
So this is why we say moisturizers can be semi-helpful. I have noticed, like, sometimes people get carried away with, like, "Oh, my skin doesn't do well with a specific ingredient," like, let's say, shea.
Hmm.
And then they don't realize that shea can be manipulated into all
All sorts
sorts
of
of
different forms.
textures
Yeah.
to, like, really actually nice, light oils almost with a
Hmm.
really nice finish
Hmm.
to really thick, gunky butters. So I think that's where, like, if you kind of feel like you're venturing down that realm, sometimes it can be confusing.
Yeah, for sure. So, kind of to sum up, how we will go about this moisturizer is honing on key moisturizing ingredients. For example, the butters and waxes are definitely call outs, right? So your occlusives like petrolatum, butters, waxes, heavier dimethicone, which is a little hard to tell. I don't even know
Yeah,
why I
it's
said
pretty
that.
hard to tell.
Yeah. So if you're dry like me, you want your cream to have something that has a butter, a
Yes.
wax, or something.
Yes.
But at the same time, if that cream doesn't have humectant, if it doesn't have the glycerin, the hyaluronic acid, you might want to layer it with a hydrating serum that
Mm,
has that. So that's kind of how I would go about it. It can be like a level 3 type of exercise. It's not like
yeah, that's a
super
good
beginner
point.
friendly.
But just email us. We'll help you out.
Yeah,
All right. So that's it for moisturizers. And then we get to sunscreens.
not helpful. Done. Boom. Don't do it. Not worth it.
Yeah, aside from figuring out if it's mineral or chemical,
Hmm.
yeah, we would say if I think the craziest question that we get asked that we refuse to answer to is they'll ask us like, there's only X% of zinc oxide in this. Am I getting enough protection? And we're like, never ask us this question.
Yeah, and the reason being the amount of sun filter a sunscreen has is only one part of it, right? How it how the formula supports this sun filter, the film
Hmm.
formers, there's SPF boosters you can use, there's antioxidants you might need to protect the sun filter, not necessarily to give you antioxidant benefits, but there's a lot that goes into a sunscreen that changes its performance.
Hmm.
And there's a lot that you can tweak, you can do to your formula that tanks its performance. So what matters is the final test result, the SPF value you see on the packaging, because
Hmm.
that is tested the same way, regardless of how much filters in it, regardless of all these like random words I just threw at you.
Totally. I mean, I don't have anything else to add to that. Just,
Yeah,
you don't need to do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So at the end of the day, it's important to remember that the aspect, the feeling of the sunscreen and how it looks when it comes out of the bottle is more important because we have also seen a lot of formula that's separated in the bottle.
Yeah.
So
That's not cool, bro.
SPF value is also not tested when formula is separated. So that's not how that works.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise, we wouldn't say you need to do a intense decode here. Texture and finish always matters more. You know the drill. What are you willing to put on your face and reapply
Mhm,
matters is everything here. So other than that, those are the fundamentals.
mhm.
We are gonna take a quick break. It's time to break it up,
Break
break
it
it up,
up, break it, break it up. Woo! The
Woo! It's
laziest breakup
almost
ever.
Friday. All
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Today's
Animal
my
fun fact
turn.
corner.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Today is about cockatoos.
Yes.
Specifically the ones with the pretty yellow
Oh.
yellow crown thingy above, the sulfur crested cockatoos.
I admire from afar, never want in my own house.
Yeah, they're a group of people that keep really cool exotic birds as pets,
Mhm,
and cockatoos is one of the more
mhm.
popular ones. They're incredibly smart.
Mm,
They can get up to 20 inches long and weigh up to 2 pounds, so not a
mm,
small bird at all. They are like most parrots. They are very smart, and they are not beginner pets at all.
mm,
They need to be interacted with at least a few hours daily. They need a lot
mm,
of exercise. They are so smart. Some have said that these cockatoos have the intelligence of basically a 2-year-old. And so they
mm,
get lonely if you don't interact with them enough. They'll pluck their own
mm.
feathers. They're
Oh.
very social creatures by nature, so usually they need friends. They are very loud. So anyway, and also if you take care of them properly, they can live up to 80 years. And I learned recently that it's a whole section, a very specific part of your will that you have to set up if you own a pet like a cockatoo or tortoise, like they tend to outlive their
Yes,
owners.
yes.
But anyway, today we're not talking about cockatoos as the pet. We're talking about wild cockatoos that roam Australia.
Oh, okay. In the
Yes.
wild,
Yep.
are they significantly different?
They're not significantly different. But what you don't might not know is they travel in giant packs.
Okay.
So as pets, you might have them as bonded pairs or
True.
like 3 or 4
True.
birds. It's like very cute. But sometimes a huge cloud of 40, 100 of them can descend on a town in Australia and it becomes a little less cute.
I will say, being in LA and seeing the flocks of parrots out
They
there,
are so
they
annoying.
are so loud.
We have, I am so sorry to do this to all you podcast listeners. We have in Southern California, other than peacocks, we also have these like the green parrots
Green,
with the
yeah.
red heads.
Yes.
So cute. And then they flock over and they make sounds like I cry. Not
Like,
kidding. And I swear they have dialects or something because
yeah.
they can sound different, and nothing makes them happier than making that sound at 5 in the morning. So
It's true.
yeah.
LA is wild.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wildlife here.
Yeah, there's when I first moved here, there's more. I digress, but there's more than once. I'm like, oh my god, someone's dog got out, and I got closer. I'm like, oh, that's a coyote.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep, that's an LA thing.
Yep.
But anyway, yes, in Aussie, the animal problems are only bigger, not smaller. So
Okay.
there are areas
Only in Australia, of course.
definitely only in Australia.
Uh-huh.
So in the coastal towns where there's more trees, there's a lot of cockatoos.
Okay.
They are also found in other countries like Singapore, Malaysia, like kind of tropical
Sure.
areas. But in Australia, I'm just gonna roam through some of these like problems. It starts out kind of cute, right?
Okay.
So I have this video here I'm gonna share with Victoria where this is something you'll see in like places like New York City a lot too. There are these like anti-bird spikes essentially that prevents birds like pigeons from nesting. I'm showing Victoria a shot of a cockatoo methodically peeling the spikes
Yeah.
off the roof.
Yeah.
And then wait for it.
Uh-huh.
They're very strong. So they pull off the
Yeah.
whole anti-nesting strip and then they dunk it on the ground.
Wow, that's dangerous.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
If this is
Holy crap! It's the whole row.
yeah, and they
Pretty
don't
good.
stop until they're done. And
Oh my. Oh my god. Wow, that's actually really dangerous.
yep.
Okay. So in Australia, you have to watch out for spikes falling above you.
Yeah, because they don't work against cockatoos. They think it's a toy. They think it's fun to dismantle a whole anti-bird thing. And then I'm gonna show her the next video, an example of cockatoo shithousery. In this Australian kangaroo sanctuary, this woman bought a plot of land, and they just taken stray roos, and they happen to live close to this wild flock
Oh
of cockatoos.
God.
And the cockatoos have learned that, holy crap, these humans are giving out food for the kangaroos. So they will go and just snip at the kangaroos' tails
Oh my god.
until they can't take it and run away and then steal their food.
What a terror.
Yeah, and these are not pets on these sanctuary. These are wild cockatoos that live
Oh my
nearby that got
God.
distracted by the food, and they decide. And I find it so wild because kangaroos are like big. They can really like
Oh my
hurt.
god.
They can really hurt them if they want to, but they're just fast enough to get out of the way and be a
Oh my
menace.
god.
Yeah, but the
Oh.
roos are really cute.
What an asshole.
Next, on this island, it's called on Hamilton Island. There's a lot of cockatoos. It's so bad that the hotel there actually constantly puts out warnings of do not leave any window, any door open.
No.
Not even don't leave it open. Don't leave it unlocked. And they're alerts. They might actually send out alert when their flocks of cockatoo come into town
No
and say,
way.
beware. And I'm going to show her this video, and they will break in. They will rummage through your luggage. They will destroy everything.
Oh my god.
And then this lady found a whole roll of them just all eating toast. I feel like this is the bird equivalent.
Wait, that is gangster.
Yeah, of teabagging you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What a menace.
Yeah.
Oh, they look like they're having like a blast.
Oh yeah,
Just
they
creating
have
chaos.
a party.
Oh my god.
So yeah, they have like bird alert. Literally, at this hour, cockatoos are coming. Make sure you lock your doors. Don't leave food out.
God. Oh my god. Oh, they're right up there with the African snails.
Yep.
Wow, Pretty
And
good.
showing Victoria another piece of news of a town that got invaded by cockatoos.
Ah,
Lit-
that's too many.
Literally hundreds of them will descend on a town just for funsies. It's roosting season. And
It's literally Alfred Hitchcock's movie, but worse.
yeah. And then I have found a video from about 2 years ago that they have learned to like open trash cans.
Oh, of course.
And in places with a lot of wildlife, it's not uncommon to like place something heavy on lids or when I went to Japan, they always place like a
Oh,
little
yeah,
weighted
yeah.
sack so the crows can't get into them.
Mhm.
Apparently, cockatoos have learned the workaround and can open trash
Oh
cans
my
now.
god.
And I found a video where they interview a town that has a lot of them, and one of the house owners there was like, "Yeah, flying termites because they also love picking at wood."
Oh my
So
god.
houses, you can rack up tens and thousands of damages from cockatoo just pulling and tearing off beams and stuff
Oh
for
my
funsies.
god. Just when you thought you had a raccoon problem, at least you don't have a cockatoo problem.
Yeah,
Holy crap.
yeah,
Well,
adorable when you don't live with a whole flock of them.
in the wild,
Yeah,
just having beach parties at your hotel like pool parties
yeah,
every day.
yep. And I'm not
Wow.
from Australia, so I don't know the regulations super well.
Yeah.
It's hard because they try to protect them. Now, this particular breed of cockatoos aren't endangered, but there are a lot of like bigger parrots, like those, oh yeah, bigger parrots in general that are endangered.
Mhm.
And there are a lot of rules against like certain subspecies. You can't kill them, you can't hurt them. And I think if I read correctly, in some towns they can classify them as a pest, and you can't
Mm.
get rid of them like a pest. But some places they are protected, so it's all, and even if they get classified as pests, you can't. There's a limit to how many a town can cull.
Oh
And
my
in terms of like
god.
cohabiting with them, it just feels like humans haven't figured it out.
Oh my
And
god.
to and that's about the cockatoos. And to end on this note, what inspired this episode is last episode we talked about the giant
Yep.
snail, which is actually very invasive.
Yes.
So I looked up other invasive species we can talk about. Cockatoo is not invasive, but I have
They're menaces.
yeah, but I found off the top 10, I found other things like king toads that's also in Australia, also in Florida. So I think the theme is just like things just get bigger, wilder, and more menacing in Florida and Australia. That's the takeaway from this animal
Oh
corner.
my
Our fun
god.
animal corner has turned into menacing,
Menacing
hard to live with wildlife.
asshole of a creature.
Beavers, cockatoos, badgers. What's next?
Yeah, who knows? Oh wow. Wow.
Yeah. I just find the way they're all like eating bread and looking at you like,
Yeah,
what?
they're
What
all
you
just
want?
hanging out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what? It's so good.
What? Oh my gosh. Well, I'll never think of a cockatoo the same way. Now I'll feel like I'll look at them and like I know what you're capable of.
Oh yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's no joke.
Ah, all right, the cockatoo.
So the parrots of
Yay.
Pasadena, I suppose you're not that annoying.
That's true. Could be way worse. You're absolutely right. I guess.
Yeah. So that's it. Yay!
Yay.
Time for Meatz part 2.
All right, let's do it. In Meet Part 2, we are going to focus on actives. And this is because we feel like actives are probably the most helpful category in being able to decode. I think there's a couple questions that
Mm-hmm.
we're hoping to answer through Decode.
Mm-hmm.
And the first question is, are you actually getting what you want?
This is super relevant for the episode we just did
Yes.
on vitamin C's.
Yes.
Something that we learned while we're doing research is vitamin C serums nowadays, a lot of them are just very generically called some sort of C serum. But the reality is that doesn't tell you what kind of vitamin C you're getting, and it can get really confusing really fast.
Mm.
And 2 episodes ago, we did an episode on vitamin C derivatives. And check it out because what you'll learn is not all vitamin C's are created equal.
Mm.
You might think you're getting a vitamin C serum because it's an antioxidant, because it's brightening, because it boosts collagen production. But you might only be getting one out of those 3 benefits or 2, depending on what you're actually buying.
Yep. I was trying to think of other realms where this happens a lot too. I think general antioxidants
Mhm.
realm is kind of confusing. I was also thinking about sometimes with pigmentation, if you're trying to tackle hyperpigmentation and it's just you hear things like brightening serum, you can get very different ingredients. Like
Mhm.
it could be an exfoliator, you could get just like not saying licorice root extract's bad, but it could just be like a more tame, I think,
Mhm.
like brightening serum versus actual hyperpigmentation active. So I just feel like I think those two realms to me stick out the most.
Yeah, and then for me, another one is actually retinol, because
Yeah.
we run into a couple
Yeah, actually.
retinoid serums, and when you take a closer look, you're like, what is in here? And it might be the grand active form,
Yeah.
it might be encapsulated form, but
Yeah.
not very clear.
I think the other realm too, and I think this is just more just very confusing, is like if you are looking for something that is soothing,
Hmm.
tackling anything that deals with calming, soothing, sensitivity, anything like that, I think that realm is also really confusing to
Yeah, for
know what
sure.
are you getting, what is actually helping soothe the skin.
Hmm.
Yeah. So,
So when you get into outside of the core actives of the
mm,
main skincare actives like vitamin C, retinol, it can get that much worse in
yeah.
terms of
Yeah,
decode.
true.
But for say your retinols and your vitamin C, we definitely recommend at least skimming the ingredient list and look for the ascorbyl blank ingredient for your vitamin C to know exactly what molecule you're getting. And for retinol, look for retinol with an O, retinol with an A, retinoate as a derivative form, or retinol palm, something like that.
Yeah,
So you kind of have a gauge for what you're expecting.
totally. So that's the first question.
Mhm.
The second question is, are you getting enough or are you getting too much?
I think people have heard us rant about the percentage train really derailing in recent years, and that's what this category is about.
It just creates so much work for us.
Yeah. Hey, we still have work. Yay!
You're right. We could have no work. Yeah. So, this is, going down through the main actives, the case of AHAs, percentages matter. Obviously, it can dictate whether you're going to be using it every night
Hmm.
versus maybe weekly. Retinol, we already know, and the percentages differ if you're using retinol versus tretinoin versus, oh, what's the other one? Retinaldehyde. And then niacinamide, mainly because it's now in so many
Everything.
products,
Hmm.
having a good gauge of how many products include niacinamide. And now knowing that, as we tell you, jack of all trades, plays nice with everything, they're starting to really bump up that concentration in a lot of their products. So we are noticing many of you saying like, I think I have too much. Like I
Hmm.
don't need any more in my products.
Yeah, this can be confusing, but worth doing the homework
Mm-hmm.
on because every actor's effective level and range can different.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to our podcast, you'll know that sometimes like what brands tell you about their percentages might not be like fully forthcoming or can
Yes.
still be a little misleading.
Yes.
So, but I think the how much you're getting, are you getting too much, is such an important one to figure out.
Yeah. Now, probably the other category that's kind of confusing is all the other like actives that you hear about. These are things like peptides,
Hmm.
fancy extracts, even new proprietary stuff. And this definitely becomes a much more complicated and probably harder arena to really decode.
Hmm.
For example, with peptides, like we said, a lot of it's proprietary. Some don't do anything. And this is probably where we would say we would lean heavily more towards looking at claims than
Hmm.
actual ingredient list.
Yeah, because for example, some brand might claim hexapeptide. Even if you ask us, oh, what's a hexa, or like, does this hexapeptide work? We're like, well, I don't know which one it is. It
Yeah.
depends on where it came from.
Yeah.
Hexapeptide what? There's a number next to it.
Yeah.
So as a consumer, it's unlikely that you know if there's enough of this hexapeptide, if this peptide does
Yes.
anything. It's just
Yes.
not super helpful. So yeah, totally agree. This is where you want to look at claims. And also, I want to add that this is where the brand as a whole matters. So if
Mm.
this brand has a habit of making very confusing retinol percentage claims, how much do I trust their choice of peptides? I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think it's just this I think the probably good examples also like things like are Silymarin,
Hmm.
right? Like an extract like that versus a very exotic extract like this is when you kind of start have to looking at like what data there is out there, is there any testing, what can they, yeah. So that's why it's like it's kind of a gray area all
Yeah.
around.
So we would say when it comes to these type of actors, might not be super helpful to decode.
Yeah, for sure. So that's a general scope of actives.
Hmm.
Think one other arena you can think about for decoding ILs is general skin triggers.
Hmm.
So, for example, I'm gonna put Gloria out there. Her feels about drying powders.
I hate them all.
Yeah, so she knows her trigger, and
Hmm.
that means she's going to be pretty conscious of how she shops for that in actually many different types of products: moisturizers, sunscreens, foundations, all that.
And I should mention that I mentioned earlier in the episode, or maybe last episode, that when I see things like oil control,
Mm,
I immediately know there's powders.
mhm.
But I have dry skin, so it's not like I'm really shopping for oil control to begin with.
Yeah.
So, and the reality is, powders are often used in skincare because they feel nice. They give you a cleaner finish or a
Mhm.
softer touch at the end. But that means you can find them in all sorts of products. I've seen them in sunscreens, actually a lot in sunscreens.
Most, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot in moisturizers. So for me, I do a quick decode. If I see silica, I run.
Yeah. Also, this is again, when you have too much of a good thing like niacinamide is a great way to kind of assess all of that. Skin allergies. I mean, what's kind of wild, we've had some followers, they've been able to like
Hone in
basically
on.
hone in on like a really specific and what we would think is like not that common of
Hmm.
allergy, but this is when, you can whittle it down and basically avoid, you know, a skincare problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you have pretty serious reactions
Mhm.
to skincare, you might want to consider going to a derm and
Yep.
do an allergens panel test
100%.
because I know it becomes really crazy the detective work you have to do to hone in on an ingredient.
Yeah.
When people come to us and say, "Oh, I have an allergy to ceteris." I'm sitting here like, how did you find out that it's a ceteris alcohol?
Yeah.
So when it gets to be that granular, like you feel like you're already using the most vanilla products and you still have a trigger,
Yeah.
or you want to get into actives but you're a little worried, it might be time to just do a test and figure it out.
Totally agree. And then we're going to touch on this just a smidge. I think if you think about decoding IL, there is a realm that stems from being clean beauty conscious. And we're going to just tell you right now, when you start decoding ILs based on these like no lists out there, it will drive you nuts.
Yeah, and I think there are people in this realm that will put a full ingredient list onto
Yeah.
an inky decoder or a
Yeah.
EWG,
Yeah.
and that's when you freak yourself out.
Yeah, it'll drive you mad. And we'll tell you it's not helpful because there are, I guarantee you, for one ingredient, there's going to be like 500 sources out there. And there is no way you can identify if that's a legitimate source or not, or if this source is truly problematic or not. And I guarantee you, there's also probably no data to really substantiate the fear,
Hmm.
So I think what we want to say is, we don't recommend like getting too caught up in this, but we can give you a bit of uplifting news. For better or worse, because of this movement, major ingredient suppliers are really having to do a ton of work to work
Hmm.
on their transparency. So, I would say, I guess Gloria and I are not too concerned.
Hmm.
But if you have any questions, you know where to find us.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's kind of the general guidelines of
Hmm.
decoding in our eyes. We definitely want to say this is not the end all be all.
Yeah.
Decoding ingredients can give you an added picture that we think it can be very helpful to consumers. But is it going to give you the final say on anything? Like, probably not. It's just one more piece of
Yeah,
info.
I think it's definitely a piece of my journey. I feel like for a long time, this ship has sailed for me. Like I can't, it's hard for me to think what I would do if I'm a consumer in the blind anymore.
Yeah.
But I was trying to think like, okay, if let's say I'm trying to get serious about hair care,
Oh,
which is really
oh,
hot right
uh-huh.
now, and I don't really, it's not a field I'm super interested in yet. I haven't done a ton of homework in this department, but let's just say I want to take better care of my hair. Would I decode ingredients? I'll probably say it will be part of the journey, right? I would probably try a bunch of products and then feel like, what am I doing? What am I looking for? And when you want to look for that benefit is when you want to do more homework.
Mhm.
And then in that sense, yeah, decoding ingredients should absolutely be part of that journey to just understand a little bit more of what you're putting on your face and what may or may not work for you. But at the end of the day, there is so many factors. I would say if you want to get to that expertise level of it, you are gonna drive yourself crazy and
Yeah,
just,
for sure. Yeah, sometimes we go crazy.
yeah, a couple of key info per category
Yes,
is probably gonna be the most helpful here.
totally agree. So, to sum up, the goal is that with this added info and your newfound ability to decode claims paired together, hopefully are going with some of the things we've been able to share, we can save you a little bit of money.
Mhm.
You can have a less frustrating journey,
Mhm.
where you don't spend a couple months of downtime on a dud.
Mhm.
And then, you feel more sure of like what you're putting on your face. Cause I think when we first started Chemist Confessions, the main issue was seeing our friends and my own mother like just buy things because just with no rhyme or reason
Mhm.
except that it's a really fancy jar
Yeah.
and it's really expensive, so it must be better than what's out there, right? So
Mhm.
hopefully it's just a more educated purchase choice, and you guys feel more confident in what you're buying.
Yeah,
That's
and
really it.
that's honestly like part of the whole point of us doing Chemist Confessions.
Yeah. Anyway, so hopefully this is helpful. If you have any questions about decoding your products or any other burning skincare questions, Gloria, where can they find us?
You can find us on our website at chemistconfessions.com. If you want to learn more about
Mhm.
decoding, definitely check out our blog. We have
And the book.
yes, and the book. There's a blog post on decoding moisturizers.
Mm,
We kind of go in deeper on each individual core active ingredient as well.
yeah.
And the book is definitely a comprehensive
Yeah.
overview where you can
That's
get that info.
organized nicely.
Blog is less organized, so don't tell us. We know. And anyway, you can also write to us, email us at
Mm.
info@chemistconfessions.com, DM us on Instagram at chemist.confessions, and that's it.
All
We'll see
right.
you guys next time.
Thank you guys. See ya. Bye.